I would make a motion that we take that.
Okay, I made the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor of taking that full council? Since Sal is here, we'll turn the meeting back over to Sal. We've taken care of the warrants.
Okay.
And that's as far as we
Thank you very
got.
much, Sonny. Sorry, everybody, again, it's getting to be a habit. Sorry. First things on the budget, before we go any further, I'd like to thank Bob and Christina, I believe, helped out getting this out so quick. I've been reviewing as much as possible. I wasn't at the work study because I was sick. Have we spoken any more about scheduling another work study? Listen to the audio.
I had that down to me, and I'll go ahead and make a motion that we schedule a second mid-year budget work study. I'll suggest 5:30 on the 7th. That would allow us to act on the following Monday if we needed to, if that works. That we would take that to full council.
On, you said, I'm sorry, the 7th?
Yeah.
January 7th.
Is anybody opposed to that?
No, wait, let's see.
That's the Tuesday.
Yeah, we can see it there.
It's the wrong year.
That's the wrong year.
So that would be Tuesday.
That'll be a Tuesday. So that seemed to work last time.
That would be fine for me.
Does that work for you? You guys think?
At 5:30, you said.
Yeah. Is that
I think that way we can get it in for the next.
good, Sonny?
Do we have a second for that motion?
Um,
So that's my motion. We need a second.
I second it, absolutely. I second the motion.
Favor?
All in favor? Tuesday the 7th?
And that's just taking it to full council, so we'll need to read it back up a little bit.
You know, any questions I have on the budget, I guess we can wait for that work study. Or we can speak with you, Bob, I guess, in private, and Christina. Is there any issues that we can bring up right now?
I would just touch on three things. That we needed to adjust the fund amounts. This is mostly just for clarity. We needed to adjust the fund amounts for 715-030 and 715-090. We're waiting on a bill to come from RAP administration to do that. But our goal would be to implement that for next year. However, this mid-year budget that Bob has prepared does move us towards that. It's looking at what those amounts should be, and it's broken out. So we're making progress mid-year, but real implementation, I think, as a goal for us would be for the next fiscal year. Does that make sense to everyone? Or have I misunderstood our approach to those two ordinances and funds?
I think what you have on that is they're going to be implemented, but that'll be in your new budget
For next year.
for
Right.
next year.
Right, yeah. That's it. So I just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page. And then the equipment capital fund.
Yeah, that was my next question, actually.
Okay, what I had is that Bob's identified a list. You indicated a pretty full list, everything from trailers to everything that we requested, with date, lifespan, and replacement cost. So we'll get this done soon, but again, fully implementing, I think our real target is for next year, not for the mid-year budget. Yeah. Though I wanted to say that in the mid-year budget, Bob has addressed getting some funds started for this purpose, so I'm real happy to see that. Even if it doesn't match a list and a breakout, we can continue to work on that, but we're making progress again towards
And
this
if you
goal.
would provide me with a list of those accounts that you wanted explanations on the variations,
Has that
I'd be
list
happy
been-
to do so.
Have we created a preliminary list yet?
No,
For the equipment or anything?
Yeah,
Bob
I've
has
got
the
it.
list.
You got it?
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
gonna get that out to
He
us?
hasn't sent
Yep.
it to
You
us.
just haven't perfected yet, basically.
I'm updated everything that's insured and updated the vehicle listing and the whole 9 yards.
But we haven't gotten it yet. Right?
No, I will have that to you this week.
And that's gonna be departmental and line item for each department?
Yep.
That's what I want to
For a lot of that equipment, I think we can probably, okay, a new piece of equipment costs X numbers of dollars. The way we use it, it will last 10 years with no problem. In some cases, specifically police cars, you might buy a car exactly like the police car, and you say, oh, I drove that thing for 7 years and never gave me a minute's problem. That won't work on the police force. So we have to have somebody that's a little more qualified than I am, and possibly the rest of us,
Sure.
to determine the feasibility of a police car's, use. In the last 2 months, we've spent $5,000 trying to keep these cars on the road.
Honestly, Sonny,
So-
I agree with you. I would err to the side of caution and conservative on those numbers. But, as long as we have some numbers in place, I don't care if it's 3 years. As long as we have something something specific that we can follow.
Yeah.
And if there's more or less in those accounts, we can deal with a way to, if there's a holding type, if it can carry over, if it goes into reserves, I don't know. But, in that situation, let's say we have a car that does last 7 years, okay, and we're budgeted for 4. At that time, or vice versa. We're budgeted longer, and at least we know that we can go X amount of dollars into the reserves instead of saying, well, how much is it gonna cost us? 25 grand, 30 grand. So I think it's just a little more clarification. And if anybody's probably adept to doing that, I'm sure, especially on the police side, I think Bob would be.
Well, the specific request was that the administration put together a list of anything over $7,500, and that the administration give us that lifespan. So I think that your concern that one of us might have a misconception about a lifespan of a police car, I don't think that's going to be a concern, because those lifespans will come from Bob.
Will that show in the budget, Bob?
Okay.
Or is that gonna be?
It won't show in the
separate,
budget, I can do it separately.
just more of
And
a
I think it's,
report?
it's more informational for you than anything else.
Okay.
The other thing that I had was, the last month we passed a motion requesting that the administration propose a set of fees or use tax, franchise tax, which would be established against the water sewer enterprise activities and reflect an appropriate consideration back to the general fund for expenses and considerations being made by the city towards the water and sewer activities. So I just wanted to check status. Is that in process, or do you have anything for us?
I do not have anything at this point, no.
It's no rush, I just don't want it to drop off what we're doing.
No, I understand.
So that's in the works. That's what I had.
Okay. So, okay, we'll bring that to council. Bear with me, I've got some, So we've already done the warrants. I don't have any other issues to bring up, other than the budgetary issues. Does anybody else? Bob?
Change order number 5. My recommendation would be that it be taken to full council for approval, as is.
Monroe, you actually went down there, looked at that, everything looks pretty kosher. No, it doesn't? I spoke with Larry today, and he said that it seemed like they were doing what they need to do down there with those change orders. And that they were
opinions,
two different opinions?
No, it's not even close. I'm not on your committee.
Well, I'm just curious.
You want me to answer now? Or?
It's a community, but I'm asking.
Okay.
You were interested in it.
Number one, I agree that that hopper would probably be a good idea. I'm not sure it needs to be stainless. That's over $15,000 for that stainless hopper. Before you bought a stainless, I would like to get a price on a carbon steel. I worked at Hercules, as you all know, and when I went there in '67, they had the exact same hoppers in the most corrosive area around here, morning and night. And when I left in '99, the hoppers were still there, and they wasn't stainless. So I don't think you need a stainless hopper. The grading, the engineer shows me a 2x6 piece of grading that needs to be, and that's exactly what this paper calls for. But when I went back with part of the city administration, that's not even close to what they're going to do. It's not even close. What they're going to do is really should be done. This here don't need to be done. That's just a piece of grading. They won't tear it out and put aluminum in there. So there's nothing wrong with what's there. You can paint it and make it look better. But in talking to the administration, they say that's not what they're gonna do. They're gonna deck another area, which needs to be done for safety, it really does. That's not what they call for. Then there's railing. There's a piece of railing, not quite from here to Bart, that they want to take out. Well, that's not true either. They're gonna run maybe 30 feet of railing that needs to be run. But that's not what this calls for. That electrical circuit, to start with, the last time they come up with a change order, we requested that they don't do anything until they ask us first. Well, that's already done.
They do.
And it's not code.
Who asked them to do that?
The
Who asked them to
council-
wait?
We did, the council. Remember the gravel? We said, don't do any more work without asking us first. Well, that circuit is already run, it's not code. It's not even supposed to be a code. And I've run a little conduit in my day, and 60 feet of PVC conduit with 3 wires in it is not $1,000. I figure you're talking about a $150 job maybe. $100 worth of material and a couple hours later. So, no, I don't like that. And, well, for one thing, it ain't code.
It's not code.
No.
It is code.
No, it ain't.
Yes, it is, sir.
Don't argue with me, because it ain't code. I'm saying it ain't. And I got a book in here that I can prove what I'm telling you.
I looked at the code.
That's be glass proof, it's not.
No,
The
it doesn't.
igniter box itself that I looked at is not an explosion-proof box. That's where the conduit runs to. I talked to the gentleman, what's his name?
Brent,
Mark.
Mark Bross.
Mark Bross, I talked to him down there. He said it was not an explosion-proof area, and he would give me information pertaining.
Are y'all interested in this?
I mean, I'm curious. Part of my curiosity is if
See what this
when
is
we
here?
pass these change orders.
This is National Electric Code. There's nothing about electricity that this book don't tell you. And if you want to know whether that's in,
Well, after
it's a
we,
Class 1, Division 1 area. That's gas. Class 1 is gas. And in a Class 1 area, any conduit you run's got to be heavy wall conduit. It's got to be threaded with explosion-proof fitting. And a Class 1 Division 1 location is any area that where you've got gas. Class 1 Division 1 location is a location in which ignitable concentration of flammable gas or vapors can exist.
Differences between natural gas and propane.
No, it's
Yes,
just
sir.
gas. Propane is even worse than natural gas, because we all know propane is heavier than air. It don't drift off out in the atmosphere. It stays on the ground.
as these change orders go through,
That is not code. You
well,
guys can take
is
my
it
word
on
for it.
us
No,
to
that's
inspect
not
those to
code.
make sure they're code?
That's why we have an engineering firm that's contracted to oversee the project. And I can't imagine an engineering firm with this reputation trying to shuffle something off on us that doesn't meet code and then would expose us to liability. And that's all I'll say.
Would the liability fall on us, or would it fall on the inspection company?
It actually would fall on the engineer because that's part of the bond issue.
He's a civil engineer, he's not a record. It's not code. Anyway, I'm not gonna argue more. You guys have to decide that yourself, but you're gonna have to vote. So, I'm telling you it ain't code, but if you won't believe somebody else, that's strictly up to you. But,
Well, we have
well,
145,000
there's other problems with that,
other problems with the project itself.
with that circuit. He's run that with 490s, which is 360-degree circle. You don't do that.
I don't understand a word of
Well,
that.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
It's not, I'm just telling you, it ain't code. I don't like the extension, because we sat here for months and asked, are they on time? No, they're behind. You think you should go to a 5-day week since you're behind on it? That fell on deaf ears. They finally told us, no, they're on schedule. That plant's on schedule. Well, now they're asking for a 2-month extension because they're not on schedule. They're behind.
We are on schedule with the Department of Natural Resources abatement order on consent.
Well, we have 145,000 contingency fund planned into this project, correct? So this is gonna put us to about 83,000 and some change. This has been almost a monthly, well, we've had 5 change orders?
This is the fifth.
This is the
You
fifth?
turn the first one down,
In a project that's
pass the next 3.
at its completion,
Does anybody else wanna weigh in on this? Yeah?
Well, go ahead.
No, I was just scratching my head.
There's more than one of us doing that.
Did you say that their contract, they are up to date and they're finished with their project?
No.
The
No.
rest, wait a minute, the rest of it is just beautification, right?
yes, sir.
That's what you told me.
Yes,
How come
sir.
down there Friday, they were still tearing out the concrete tank?
Yeah,
That's not beautification.
that's all part
It's
of
in
it.
their contract to tear that, then
Yeah.
they weren't completed. If it's in their contract, they can't be completed.
Jim, there's a difference between the misconception that you're operating under is the fact that we had an abatement order on consent issued by the Missouri Department of Natural Resources, specifically dictating that we had to have a new wastewater treatment plant up and running,
December 5.
given all their specifications and what they requested, and that was completed.
Do you remember me asking, when they accepted this contract, I said, will they be given any more money? No, they won't. Now we're giving them,
85,000.
The
yeah,
contingencies are built in.
Well, he's right. I mean, there's 145,000 of basically extra money for issues. That's
Unforeseen items that
Right.
come up.
And if you don't utilize them, once everything's done, you can't go back and tap into them. They have to be approved at this point and this time, at this juncture.
well, it's good, they should be approved.
well, for me,
I've offered my opinion,
yeah.
and it's the council's decision.
And
And
this seems
however
like,
the council rules, I'll abide by.
this seems like a lot of differing ideas. For me personally, if we have an engineer that is, competent, I don't disagree with you at all. Obviously, I don't know what I'm talking about.
This book here is available. I won't give it to you, but I'll let you read it.
But what's our options? What's our resource options here?
Do it right.
Well, no, I agree with that, but how do we enforce that?
Sal, if I'm wrong.
Right there. Mr. Edit?
if
No,
you-
I'm not disagreeing, because I don't know.
No, I'm
just
just saying, if I'm wrong, and that don't need to be explosion proof, and we just made it a little safer than it needed to be. But if I'm right, and you don't make it explosion proof, then it's not as safe maybe you do it. I mean, it ain't gonna hurt nothing to do it. You ain't gonna lose nothing but doing it the way I'm telling you ought to do it. I mean, I ain't asking you to find the moon, it's just do
This
it
isn't,
right.
this isn't on me. I just want to,
Sal, I asked the engineer if it met code. Because Monroe and I was both down there, we're the ones that toured the plant. I toured the plant with Larry also. And the 2 grates that he's talking about, the only reason they wanted to change them is to match the grate that's going over this 40-foot pit. And I agree with that.
okay.
The hopper, they had it in their bid of what they was gonna buy. They bid the bid for $5 million. If they paid $15,000, and like Monroe said, the other ones were cheaper, all they did was bid it out, and the engineer firm took the stainless steel. As far as the conduit down there we looked at, I understand where Monroe is coming from, but it also says it has to be declared a hazardous area. And to me, that's not a hazardous area because it's a generator, it's a backup in like case you lose power.
I look at it,
I looked at all the other conduit down there. It's all, I call it plastic, but it's all PVC. Amber UEs also. So,
What, you know what schedule that is?
80. 80.
and like you said, we pay an engineer to do this. If the engineer messes up, we
Well,
go back on the
And
engineer.
at the end of the day, we're gonna, I mean, that's where we have to put our trust is in who we hire, so.
What I, and we not only have, we only have Klinger and Associates, but we've got the engineering and the scrutiny from Missouri Department of Natural Resources doing their quarterly inspections as the construction progresses.
Okay,
Well, could we, is there any way we could get an itemized statement on that? Because that's not $1,000 circuit, guys. It isn't even close. It's $150 circuit.
will that hold up their progress?
Done.
It's already done.
This ain't my money. This is the
Right, I
citizens'
understand.
money.
That's why I wanna talk about it. I mean, it's not mine.
And that's why I don't want to shovel it out of here like
Yeah,
you're shoveling.
I agree. I don't have a problem with that, but I want it to be consensus. I want everybody to weigh in on it as well. Because
For my
Does
part,
DNR have to sign off on whether or not this circuit is explosion proof or
They
does it
sign off
need to
on the
be?
whole project.
see, I'm not at the
Could
stage
we
on
have
the
them do that before we
I'm not gonna question.
okay it, or?
Personally.
You can't,
Bro, you could, because you've done work.
you cannot
I would meet
single
anybody
things
you
out
wanna meet with.
Okay.
if you do a change order. And it was broken down by Mark Bross through Klinger. And you cannot separate things out of the change order because that would require that each individual one of those be considered a change order,
which would be.
which would
beneficial.
delay the progress
Right. And-
Right.
and-
that much further.
Well, here's what I'd like to do. This is no disrespect to you, Monroe, because I appreciate you, you know, your background. Me personally, I think with that many people, DNR behind the project and the engineers holding the liability, I'm gonna make a motion for us to, pay the, $20,575,
You're taking it to council.
taking it to council, change
I
order
think-
number
I wish we
5,
did that last
to
week.
vote on in council.
Yeah, I thought we.
We're already
this
done.
last week.
That's already done.
Oh, this is already done?
It's not
It's
reflected in the
Finance
minutes.
Committee. This is,
Mr. Neal
Has it
made
been
a
voted
motion
on?
to forward the change order to full council. Mrs. Smith, second
Okay.
motion.
yeah.
Well, it's done.
And that was the last
Sharon, sorry.
finance committee, right?
No, we didn't.
I have 3 things.
You have 3 more things?
I have 3 more things.
One.
I can always count on you.
I know you. I have the bids for the turkeys. From Carl's, it's $1.65 per pound. County Market, it's $15 per person, which is $1.07 per pound. And Walmart's are $1.28 per pound. $1.65 from Carl's, $1.07 from County Market, and $1.28 from Walmart.
Somebody
The
suggested
county markets would be gift certificates, so you could go get your own turkey.
county markets coming to Louisiana. I would recommend to the council that we deal with the people that's coming to serve our city.
I agree with that. And another, I'm not arguing that, we wish you could do both, but as much as County Market is coming, Carl's stepped up to help fill the gap. That's also pretty notable. So I don't know
Yeah,
that
but
there's
40 cents more a pound.
an allegiance issue, there may be a financial issue,
There is.
but we should be
You
thankful.
have to take the
74.
best and lowest bid for the taxpayers' money.
Right, but I think that's the basis more than,
But
Who's the lowest
whatever.
bid?
County Market, $1.07 a pound.
I would, I agree with Bart in that respect, but I would go with the lowest bid, save money.
I would make a motion that we accept county market, or take it to full council to accept county market's bid.
I'll second that. All in favor? Motion passed. Number 2.
Okay.
Hurry up, Sharon, we're waiting on you.
I know. DNR to Klinger and Associates, $25,345.80. Lehman Construction, $185,146.20, for a total of $210,492.
$210,492
Even.
even? Wow. I will make a motion to pay that to Klinger. $210,000, or to bring the full council to vote on that, $210,492 even.
A second.
All in favor? Motion passed. Anything else?
One more.
One more.
More?
The employees were asked to state whether they wanted direct deposit for paychecks or not. It came back, I think that there was 10 more yeses than nos, and 3 didn't care. To do the direct deposit, the mayor has to enter into a contract with Bank of Louisiana for 2 years to do the direct deposit, so.
If that's what the people want, I don't have any problem with that.
It would be deposited just to the Bank of Louisiana?
Well, the Bank of Louisiana handles our payroll. They'll do the deposits for it, or they'll draft them,
They're
or,
the middleman.
yeah.
I make a motion to bring the full council to vote for direct deposit to do a contract for 2 years. All in favor? Motion passed.
You got a question out there in the audience.
No.
He's got it right.
Craig,
Is the Obama government insurance going to affect our city employees?
the changes in the Obamacare? Boy, I don't know. We would have to, we just recently changed insurance.
No.
Nope.
Not affect us at all
We did not
Ours is good
change.
until May.
until May of this year?
We're putting it out for bid by
Our
next
intent
month.
is to put it out for bids after the first of the year. We're staying with our current contract, which is due up 1st of May. And
So,
in the interim, then we will put it out for bid and see.
will it affect, down the road, next few years?
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll be notified, or will you need to check with?
They'll definitely, the insurance provider will notify the city, and they'll probably have people actually come and basically speak on the changes, probably with Bob or Sharon. Are they legally bound to do that? I'm not sure, but I would assume they would. The company itself.
We were, obviously, we were recently approached by our current carrier indicating that we could renew with our current carrier and get that at a better rate than if we waited until after the Obamacare stuff kicks in. So it appears by everybody I've spoken with, and it appears by the fact that she came to us and said things are going to go up and here's a way to keep it from going up so much, that the anticipation is that, yes, not just our city, but that this will have broad implication. There's a lot of question as to what that'll be. Nobody can answer that right now. So they are in the process, it appears, of locking in things you can count on at a smaller increase now instead of waiting and seeing. So yes, it's probably going to affect us. Now I want to mention, while we're on in a public forum, that the reason we cannot do that is because by law we have to go out through a formal bid every 3 years. We can't enter into another contract that extends us past that without going through a formal bid process. And the several week notice that we had to even look into this issue was not adequate to meet that deadline. There was also a second carrier that got put into the mix that brought up issues of how exactly we need to respond to some of the questions on the form. So it was just not feasible to act in the time frame we were given. But the anticipation is that yes, that will affect rates in general, therefore affect us and our employees, just like every other business out there.
Don, that's a national question that nobody's really answered yet.
So we are under subject of Obamacare, then the provider that we now have is not going to be eligible to be a provider, is it?
Well, no, they, I mean, without knowing specifics, they should be.
Yeah, it's not going to.
No, I mean, Blue Cross Blue Shield, United, those bigger companies are still gonna be around, they're still gonna be providers. They just have different specifications on how they can, and costs, and what we can accomplish. So, again, it's a national question. If anybody has the answer, then they're smarter than this guy, but I don't think that's the case. Not that they're not smarter, but that they have the answer.
Thank you.
Move to adjourn, any other,
Second.
all in favor? There you go, Sharon, timely, for you.
That will burn the daylight, you know.
I have most of it in there.
You need some help?